Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year.
New Year, Mayor.
Okay, it is currently 6:30 p.m. and I'm going to call to order the Local Government and Community Services Committee for a special committee meeting. We have one item on our agenda, which is Resolution 2017, establishing the City Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coalition. Coming out of last committee meeting, we had an outstanding question whether or not the individuals who apply for this committee could interview in public or in private based on city charter and other Open Meeting Act laws. So we did get that answer, and the people who are applying for this committee or this coalition will have to interview in a public setting, the same as we would conduct any other volunteer type of interview. So that being said, I do think that wraps up the remainder of the questions and concerns on this particular resolution. And I wanted to, before I make a motion to move it, does anybody have any remaining concerns or issues that they want to discuss at this point?
Only thing as to, and I know we've discussed it, is changing the task force to coalition on the actual application.
We can do that. I will tell you, it does not affect the actual legislation. That'll just be something that is, we can change that before we post it to the website if this thing passes. But yes, we have made that note, and I've already talked to Liz, so we should be good on that. Great. Does anybody else have any concerns? Our timeline that we had outlined was that we would have these due back January 31st and begin interviewing hopefully during the month of February. Is everybody still comfortable with that timeline, given that today is the 4th and potentially we could put this up for passage tonight?
Yes.
All right, then I'm going to make a motion to move this to third and final passage for this evening. Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
Sarah, yes. Bridget?
Yes.
And Greg?
Yes.
Motion passes 7-0. We'll place this on third and final read for this evening. And then Local Government and Community Services ends at 6:33 p.m. Thank you.
All right, Finance Committee will begin at 6:33 p.m. We just have a couple things here. Ordinance 2061, the issuance and sale of bond notes for the Gemini roof replacement project. This is something we discussed before and was just left in committee to make sure that all questions were answered on this. So does anyone have any other questions or comments on this? I would like to put it up for third read and final passage tonight. If anyone has any questions or anything. All right, seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to put this up for third read and final passage tonight. Mike?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Maureen?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
I'm going to vote yes, and Greg?
Yes.
Okay, it passes 7-0. The next two pieces of legislation up kind of go together, Ordinance 2066 and Resolution 2022. Ordinance 2066 is the 2021 street levy income tax renewal for years 2022 through 29. Currently, this expires at the end of this year, December 31st, 2021. And this ordinance is to amend section 173.0501 of the codified ordinances. And it's to renew 0.25% portion of our current income tax rate of 2%, and which is dedicated just for the resurfacing and rehabilitation of city streets. If this is something that we do not pass, it not only will hurt our roads, but will also possibly cause ongoing projects to be terminated. I don't know if Mayor Cooney or Director Costello would want to add anything to this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Uh, this portion of the income tax provides about $1.2 million annually for our roads projects. It's been in place since 2005. It was voted in by the residents in '05 and 2013. As the chair mentioned, it would impact projects going forward. So, we believe it's an important part of our budget. It's specifically dedicated to road resurfacing. And that's how it was introduced back in '05 and on the renewal in 13. And that's what we're asking for now. I know, Kim Kerber, our engineers, on the line as well. Or, if you have any questions, maybe past projects, Mary Kay could also talk about what some of our future projects are, and then Greg, obviously, from a financial standpoint. But it's important to, to all of us here in the city, because we do have projects that it takes care of. And if we don't have those funds available, those needs will still be there, and we'll have to go find other sources to take care of them. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if anybody misses campaigning, they'll have an opportunity to do that for this and the fire levy later this year. So get your walking shoes ready.
Does anyone have any questions about this? The ordinance 2066? Okay, then I'd like to make a motion to have this put on second and subsequent third. Mike,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Maureen.
Yes.
I'm going to vote yes, and Greg?
Yes.
All right, it passes 7-0. Then resolution 2022 goes along with this. This resolution is just to put this ordinance on the May 4th ballot for our voters. Kind of a straightforward thing. And any questions about this portion of it? Then I'd like to make a motion to put this on second, subsequent, third read. Mike,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Maureen,
Yes.
Sarah.
Yes.
I'm going to vote yes, and Greg?
Yes.
Okay, that passes 7-0. And that is it for Finance Committee. We will conclude at 6:38 p.m.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bridget. Hey, Brian, do you have anything for boards and commissions reports?
No, not tonight.
Thanks. Bill?
Nothing, Mike.
Thank you. Maureen?
Nothing, Mike.
Thank you. Sarah?
The only thing I have is that the Fairview Public Schools are currently in remote and will remain in remote learning through next week. They are currently making the decision for what they will do beyond that.
Thank you for that report.
Mhm.
Bridget?
I have nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Greg?
Nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, roundtable. Brian?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Bill, do you have anything for roundtable?
Nothing, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you. Maureen?
I do not. Thanks.
Thank you. Sarah?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. Bridget?
Nothing, thank you.
Greg?
Yeah, one thing's coming to mind. So, and this is kind of firing off the hip, but I noticed, every time we have a committee meeting agenda, we have boards and commissions report, which we go around, which we just did, and then we go around for roundtable. Do those have to be separate items, or could it be like boards and commissions reports / roundtable?
Well, they're two separate things.
I understand that.
Yeah, roundtable is basically just anything that you have on your mind, you want to discuss, constituent issues, you know.
Yeah, well, I only mention it because it seems like when we go around, everyone has nothing for at least one of those two. If there was like a statutory requirement that we had to have them as separate, I understand that they are separate.
Right.
If anyone had a thought of, if we just combine these, so that's all.
Thank you. Liz, do you have anything for roundtable?
Just a couple things. If you haven't already given GoToIT your information to set up your services, please do so. And the fire levy was filed. I haven't advertised it in the paper yet. I'm kind of holding for this next the street levy one to pass, to kind of run them both at the same time. There's no requirement to run them prior to 30 days before, which we're obviously well out for, but I do generally do it once we pass them and then again for the 30 days. So just so you know, that's why it's not being advertised yet. So sometime that's 30 days will be in April. And then once we pass this, probably the following week after we pass, if the income tax passes, I would file them both. So the last week of January, I'll probably be placing that first ad. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Liz.
Mhm.
Mayor, do you have anything you want to add before we conclude the special committee meeting?
Yes, if you don't mind, I had spoken to Greg about a trip to the North Homestead treatment plant. I think he may have talked to Bridget about joining us. And I want to put that out to other members of council. Around here, we have field trip Fridays. Try to arrange all our fun outings on Fridays. So I had reached out to Mayor Kennedy, and Friday, January 22nd was available. We were hoping to do it in the morning. So I will send an email to council if you're interested. I'm not sure how many people they can accommodate. If there's more than they can accommodate, I'm sure we can go back another time. But I know Mary Kay's going to go, myself, and again, whoever else might be interested. So I'll send something out to you, later today or tomorrow. And if you can just confirm your availability, and probably think around 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
What date is that, Mayor?
Friday, January 22nd.
Thank you.
I spoke to Mary Kay over the weekend. I want to arrange for a field trip to the Gemini Center roof soon. So
Okay.
when you guys get up there, I'm coming on that trip.
Bring your caulk gun with you.
Yeah, crock on, right.
Right.
Your boots, waders.
Boots. Right.
Well, I've been up there before, and if you want to go back, I will, but I'm not in a hurry.
If there is a trip arranged for that, I'd be interested in that if I can get appropriate notice. I can make the adjustment.
Okay.
I would be interested.
Need the TLC, so.
Yes.
Preferably when it's not cold or windy.
I'll go up in the cold.
All right, well, thank you, and that'll conclude our special committee meeting. We'll have our council caucus now. We have no minutes to approve. We do have 2 committee reports tonight. Local government and finance.
Yep.
Yep.
I'll set with those.
Yes.
All right. Bridget, you have 2 pieces of legislation that we just discussed for second reading.
Correct.
I'll set with those. And then we have several pieces for third and final passage. We have some amendments. We have amendments on the coalition legislation. You're all set with those, Sarah?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
Do I need, so No, I'm not all set. I need to highlight all of our red lines, right? So everything that is an amendment needs to be addressed.
Well, I'm sorry. Can I speak?
Yeah.
I suggested maybe just incorporating all of the changes that were made in committee. They are already highlighted in the legislation as underlined and bolded. So it's up to you whether you want to do all of them or if you just want to incorporate them all by saying the changes made in committee, because there were a couple of different committee meetings where they were made. So your choice.
Well, that's the version that went out in today's meeting notes. So there's nothing that we amended during committee tonight. So then I'm okay to make that motion to accept all changes made in committee. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, Sarah. Bridget, you'll be adding the Gemini roof bonds to third and final passage.
Yes.
So we're all set with that.
Yes.
Okay. Liz, have you received any requests to either speak on legislation that's up for passage or during public session?
I have not, no.
Okay. All right. I think we're about set. Okay. Let's see. All right, we have about 10 minutes until we'll start the council meeting then. Is everyone all right with that?
Yep.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Bridget, I saw on Facebook you got the vaccine the other day.
I did on Saturday.
It's exciting.
It is.
Yeah. How you feeling so far? Good?
I feel good, yeah. My arm, if where the shot was, it almost felt like a flu shot. Some people were saying
okay.
their arm would hurt after, but it was really just the flu shot. And I felt tired, but I also worked all weekend, so that could also be why I was tired. And I'm also just always tired, so. But yeah, I am not feeling anything. Some people got fevers after for a day or something, but I was fine.
Oh, good.
So I'm very excited. Because I'm in an ultrasound, so I didn't know how soon we would get it. I know the doctors and nurses came first, but we do work with COVID patients, so I'm glad we were. kind of pushed up there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And they really did a good job in getting people in and out, and we had to sit after for 15 minutes and they had to observe to make sure there were no side effects or anything
Mhm.
or reactions to it. So, but they did a really good job.
That's good. Yeah, I took our daughter, the pediatrician, last week, and she applauded how well the clinic is done with it and making sure the right people get it first, and then everyone else is getting kind of taken care of after that. So
Yeah.
good to hear.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my shot, Bridget.
I'll see what I can do. Smuggle some out.
I see we have a new testing station on Center Ridge Road. Do
I
you
saw that.
shoes?
Yeah, I did see that. I went to get tested at the Rocky River Urgent Care by Herbs
Right.
on Detroit. And it's not an urgent care anymore. It's just testing. And they were very efficient. I went a little bit before my appointment because I wasn't sure how busy they'd be, and it ran very smoothly. I don't know how the Zabos is, but that seems like it would be a big enough space that they could also just get people in and out.
All right, everyone, it's 7 o'clock. Regular meeting of council of the city of Fairview Park for January 4th, 2021. It's now called to order. Have a moment of silent reflection. Will the clerk please call roll?
Mr. Simmerly.
Here.
Mr. Minnick.
Here.
Mrs. Adler.
Here.
Mr. Cobain.
Here.
Mrs. Waring.
Here.
Mrs. King.
Here.
Mr. Berger.
Here.
Okay, we'll now have this evening's committee reports. Local Government and Community Services, Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. Bear with me 1 second. There we go. The Local Government and Community Services Committee met earlier this evening, January 4th, beginning at 6:30 p.m. The committee was updated on the legal opinion of Director Riley that all potential coalition members will need to be interviewed in a public setting to remain in compliance with open meetings laws. The deadline of January 31st to receive applications back was discussed and confirmed. A motion was made to move this resolution to third reading and final passage by a vote of 7-0. Local Government and Community Services ended at 6:33 p.m. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waring. Okay, we'll now have the Finance Committee report. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. The Finance Committee met via video conference on Monday, December 21st, 2020 at 6:35 p.m. In attendance were members of council, Mayor Cooney, Director Costello, Single and Riley, and members of the community. Ordinance 2067, the repeal and replace bids and contracts for the CARES Act doors project, was discussed. This is for modification and repairs to doors at City Hall to help reduce the exposure and spread of COVID-19. Changes have been made and the total amount now contracted has increased by $2,250. This matter was discussed and approved by the Board of Control on November 23rd, 2020. A motion was made for this ordinance to be up for emergency passage without 3 reads, and it passed with a vote of 6-0. Ordinance 2068, repeal and replace contract with CARES Act doors project. This ordinance was to allow funds for the modifications of the doors to City Hall to come out of Fund Number 260. A motion was made to have this ordinance up for emergency passage without 3 reads, and it passed with a vote of 6-0. The Finance Committee ended at 6:46 p.m. and this concludes my report.
Thank you for the report, Councilwoman King. Okay, we'll now begin this evening's legislative agenda. Start with legislation for second reading. Councilwoman King, if you're ready.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place Ordinance 2066 and Resolution 2022 up for second reading.
Okay, will the clerk please read the titles?
Ordinance 2066, requested by Mayor Patrick Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance amending section 173.0501 of chapter 173 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fairview Park entitled Income Tax in order to renew the 0.25% portion of the current income tax rate of 2% dedicated to the resurfacing and rehabilitation of city streets commencing January 1st, 2022 until December 31st, 2029, on which date the tax rate would revert back to 1.75% and declaring an emergency. Resolution 2022, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. A resolution submitting to the electorate at the primary election to be held May 4th, 2021, the question of approving the passage of an ordinance to amend section 173.0501 of chapter 173 of the codified ordinances of the city of Fairview Park entitled Income Tax in order to renew the 0.25% portion of the current income tax rate of 2% dedicated to the resurfacing and rehabilitation of the city streets commencing January 1st, 2022 until December 31st, 2029, on which date the tax rate will revert back to 1.75% and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Ordinance 2066 and Resolution 2022 are both placed on second and subsequent third reading. Okay, we'll now have legislation for third reading and final passage. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place ordinance 2048 up for third reading and final passage.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2048, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing McKay Engineering and Surveying Company to prepare plans and specifications and provide construction administration and procurement services for the relocation and reconstruction of a restroom at Bain Park and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Okay, prior to call for roll on passage of ordinance 2048, is there any discussion? All right, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2048?
Mr. Simmerly.
Yes.
Mr. Minnick.
Yes.
Mrs. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. Cobain.
Yes.
Mrs. Waring.
Yes.
Mrs. King.
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Sorry, my Zoom is lagging. I don't even know if you guys can hear me right now, but my vote would be yes. But I have a big lag going. So sorry about that.
Okay, ordinance 2048 passes. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place ordinance 2049 up for third reading and final passage.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2049, requested by Mary Kay Costello, Director of Public Service and Development, sponsored by Councilman Minnick, co-sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing McKay Engineering and Surveying Company to prepare plans and specifications and provide construction administration and bidding services for water main replacements and pavement resurfacing on Cromwell Avenue, Parkwood Avenue, and Bain Park Drive, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, prior to call for roll on passage of ordinance 2049, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2049?
Mr. Simmerly.
Yes.
Mr. Minnick.
Yes.
Mrs. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. Cobain.
Yes.
Mrs. Waring.
Yes.
Mrs. King.
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
The ordinance 2049 passes. Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to place Resolution 2017 up for third reading and final passage.
The clerk please read the title.
Resolution 2017. Requested by Council President Cobain, sponsored by Council President Cobain, Councilwoman Waring, Councilwoman King, and Councilman Minnick. A resolution establishing the Diversity and Inclusion Coalition, its purpose and appointment of members.
Okay, prior to call for roll on passage of resolution 2017, is there any discussion?
Council President,
Councilwoman Waring.
thank you. I'd like to make a motion to accept all of the amendments and changes that were made in committee.
So moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, prior to call for passage, prior to call for roll on the motion, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on the motion to amend?
Mr. Simmerly.
Yes.
Mr. Minnick.
Yes.
Mrs. Adler.
Yes.
Mr. Cobain.
Yes.
Mrs. Waring.
Yes.
Mrs. King.
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. Prior to call for passage of resolution 2017 amended, is there any further discussion?
Council President, Thank you. I just wanted to make the comment, because it's not in the legislation, that the current application deadline will be January 31st if this passes in just a moment. So for anybody who's watching and interested in joining the coalition, keep that date in mind. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Waring. Is there any further discussion?
If this gets passed, when will the application be on the website?
Liz, do you know that?
It can be on as early as tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of resolution 2017 amended?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yeah.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
Yes.
Resolution 2017 amended passes. Councilwoman King.
Council President, I would like to place ordinance 2058 up for third read and final passage.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2058, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with James G. Zupka, CPA Incorporated, to audit the basic financial statements of the city of Fairview Park for fiscal years 2020 through 2024 and declaring an emergency.
Prior to call for roll on passage of ordinance 2059, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2059?
2058.
The 2058?
Yeah.
2050.
I have 2059.
This one's
This one's 2058.
I'm sorry. It's 2058.
Okay.
Please call roll on passage of ordinance 2058. Thanks, Bill.
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
Yes.
Ordinance 2058 passes. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2059 up for third read and final passage tonight.
Okay, will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2059, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with James G. Zupka, CPA Incorporated, for generally accepted accounting principles, conversion, and comprehensive annual financial report, CAFR, preparation, professional services for fiscal years 2020 and 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Prior to call for roll, passage of ordinance 2059, is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2059?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger,
Yes.
Ordinance 2059 passes. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2060 up for third read and final passage tonight.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2060, requested by Finance Director Greg Single, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for support services with Software Solutions Incorporated and declaring an emergency.
Okay, prior to roll call for passage of ordinance 2060, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2060?
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
yes,
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
The ordinance 2060 passes. Councilwoman King?
Thank you, Council President. I would like to place ordinance 2061 up for third read and final passage.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Ordinance 2061, requested by Mayor Patrick J. Cooney, sponsored by Councilwoman King. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed 950,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of constructing, reconstructing, repairing, and equipping the roof of the city's recreation complex and improvements appurtenant thereto, and related building and site improvements, and declaring an emergency.
Hard call for passage of ordinance 2061. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of ordinance 2061?
Mr. Simmerly.
Yeah.
Mr. Minnick.
Yes.
Mrs. Adler.
yes,
Mr. Cobain.
Yes.
Mrs. Waring.
Yes.
Mrs. King.
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Ordinance 2061 passes. Councilwoman King?
Council President, I would like to place resolution 2021 up for third read and final passage.
Will the clerk please read the title?
Resolution 2021, requested by Senior Life Interim Director Laura Brandos, sponsored by Councilwoman King, co-sponsored by Councilman Minnick. A resolution approving the mayor entering into a contract with the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging to accept grant funds from said agency for the city's programs under Title III of the Older Americans Act of 1965, which provides funding for transportation, nutrition, and support services, and partial funding for supplemental programs thereunder for 2021, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Okay, so prior to call for roll on passage of resolution 2021, is there any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call roll on passage of resolution 2021?
Mr. Simmerly.
Yeah.
Mr. Minnick.
Yes.
Mrs. Adler.
yes,
Mr. Cobain.
Yes.
Mrs. Waring.
Yes.
Mrs. King.
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
Resolution 2021 passes. And that concludes our legislative agenda for this evening. We now have reports by the mayor and his directors. Mayor Cooney, if you're ready.
Thank you, Council President Kilbane. Happy New Year to all. Want to let everybody know that the Senior Center is continuing its virtual programming in 2021, and as well as its meal delivery. I'd like to thank the Western Reserve Area Agency, Aging and Agency, as well as the council support of the meal program. We were able to deliver thousands of meals to our seniors last year through that grant, and we hope to, we're going to be able to continue that going forward. So thank you for their support as well as your support. One of the new programming options available at the Senior Center is a virtual book discussion that will be discussed on January 28th at 1 o'clock. The book that will be discussed is Connie Schultz's Daughters of Erie-Town. If you're interested in participating in that program or any other programs or signing up for the meals, please contact the Senior Center to reserve a spot for those programs or to sign up for the meals. The Rec Center yesterday initiated a gym reservations system for the basketball hoops. There's 4 hoops on the north side of the gyms there that are available to be reserved per household at 45 minutes 45-minute time slots. This was done to enable people to come up with their kids and or themselves to to be protected and have an area where they're socially distanced from other members. That registration is available online, and people can reserve the slots the day before. Those slots will be available online the day before an interested date. Youth basketball begins on January 9th. We'll be looking into some spring programming here in the near future. We'll be providing updates to all of you and our members and residents in the next few weeks. As always, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we're constantly evaluating our programming, our protocols at the Gemini to make sure that it's safe for our members, our staff, and others. And if there are changes that need to be made, we'll let everybody know. So appreciate everybody's patience and understanding and dealing with the necessary matters there. The police department will have the agility portion of its entrance exam this weekend at the Gemini Center. Though I believe 30 invitations have been sent out to individuals who passed the written portion of the test. I know the police department appreciates the assistance of the recreation department as well as the service department in putting this things together for these candidates. I am pleased to announce that the City of Fairview Park has received an invitation from the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency to participate in its regional electric vehicle programming charging station. We received an invite late last year to participate in that. We will have a fast charging station here at City Hall. There's a meeting January 15th where we'll get more details about that program and the timeline and the commitment from the city. But as we get those details, we'll pass them on. We appreciate NOACA's support of this program, alternative means for transportation for our residents and others around. And this is something, again, they're doing throughout the region. So we appreciate them being leaders in this, and we're happy to participate. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report. And again, Happy New Year to everybody, and continue to stay safe, and best wishes to all.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, Director, I'm sorry, excuse me. Director of Service and Development, Costello.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our service personnel that worked on Christmas Eve and on Christmas and on the 26th, plowing snow and doing a really, really wonderful job keeping our community safe. Also would like to mention that Christmas tree collection is now going on. If you have a Christmas tree, if you're done with the holidays and you're moving on, the Christmas trees on the tree lawn will be collected by the city. We're also out patching chuck holes. If you see something that needs our attention, please don't hesitate to either let me know or the service garage. And finally, thank you very much for your consideration in passing ordinances for the Bain Cabin restroom and the water line work. We're very excited to get started on these projects. So I appreciate your time and consideration. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Director. And let's get this in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Happy New Year to all. The administration Again, thanks council for your consideration and passage of the items this evening pertaining to the finances of the city. We here in the finance department are working on closing fiscal year 2020, and we'll continue to work on the 2021 budget and look forward to our budget discussions here in the very near future. And that concludes my report tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Director. Law Director Riley.
Thank you, Council President. I have no report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. City Engineer Kerber.
Thank you, Council President. I would like to reiterate and copy Mary Kay and say thank you for passing the water line and Bain Park restroom projects. We plan to get started on the field work for those projects right away. You'll see our field crews out on the water line project probably this week. We are still working with ODOT on the West 210 resurfacing project, so that's moving along. That concludes my report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Kerber. Okay, Clerk Westbrook, I'm just going to check again. We have nobody requesting to speak at public session this evening.
You're muted, Liz.
Yes, no, we haven't received any.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, we'll now have miscellaneous business and reports from members of council. Councilman Simmerly.
Thanks, Council President. I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Minnick.
Thank you, Council President. No comment this evening.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Adler.
No, just to echo Director Costello's sentiments, all those service workers that got out there on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, day after, I received no complaints. So that's always a good sign. I stayed in my house, so I can't comment, but it sure looked good out there. So good work. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilwoman Waring.
Thank you, Council President. I just wanted to thank this council for their consideration and very heavy and hearted debate of Resolution 2017, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coalition. This was a really great example of how this committee can work together to come up with a solution in our city. And I really thank you. I thank the administration for everybody's input and also for passing it this evening. I am very excited to get the applications out there and start reviewing volunteers very shortly. So thank you for that. Thank you, Council President.
And thank you for taking the lead on this, Councilwoman Waring. Councilwoman King.
Thank you, Council President. I have a couple things. First of all, as you clean up your holiday displays, if you have any burned out light bulbs, we are recycling them behind City Hall. There's a big can that you can distribute. You could put them there and we will recycle them for you. I did get an update from Mr. Bill McVicker from Seabury, and they collected, along with canned foods for the Hunger Center, they are going to donate $3,000 that they collected in their elf tent and from people driving down Seabury. That's an awesome way to end the year. So thank you, McVickers, again for doing that. And then finally, I'd like to send out a congratulations to Fairview Park resident and our current District 16 state rep, Monique Smith. She was sworn in today, and I think she's going to do an awesome job. And I just wanted to send my congratulations and wish her luck on her new term. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman King. Congrats, State Rep Smith, Fairview resident. Councilman Berger.
Yeah, I have one question. I didn't get a chance to get over there. Is the Mastic Road Bridge open now?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Yes.
Great. Yeah, otherwise, I am in for the January 22nd visit to the North Olmsted Water Treatment Plant. So thank you for extending that with plenty of notice so we can make time accommodations. I hope everyone had a good Christmas and New Year and good seeing everybody. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to echo Service Director Costello's sentiments about the terrific job the Service Department did over the holidays with the snow. Christmas morning, I was out there shoveling my drive, and I believe it was the service foreman was driving a plow truck down my street, probably about, I don't know, 9 in the morning. So thank all of our employees for leaving their families during the holiday and doing a really good job at plowing our snow. Also, I'd like to thank Clerk Westbrooks for a great job on putting this legislative agenda together this evening, as usual. And I'd like to wish all of our residents and council and administration a happy new year. Look forward to working with you all this new year. And if there's nothing else to come before this council this evening, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
The clerk, please call roll.
Mr. Simmerly,
Yes.
Mr. Minnick,
Yes.
Mrs. Adler,
Yes.
Mr. Cobain,
Yes.
Mrs. Waring,
Yes.
Mrs. King,
Yes.
Mr. Berger.
Yes.
The council is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Night, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Good
Thank you.
night. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.